Hi, I'm Brian and welcome to Monroe's for Dogs. On this trip we all set out to summit Stob Ban, which is part of the Gray Corries. There's not a lot of parking for these Monroes. There's a car park where we're at now and there's one further down. But as they're very popular hills, I try and get here as early as you can. You can do Stob Ban as part of the Gray Corries, or you can do it as a single Monroe. If you add it on to the quarries themselves as the first Monroe, you'll have a much easier time than we did by not adding it on, which is a big mistake for us. So here we are now having to do Stob Ban as a single Monroe. To get to the Monroe itself, you have a very long walk in up the valley all the way to the bothy, which is at the base of the Monroe. The route itself is really easy. Nice tracks that you can see here. You walk in through the woods and then it eventually opens up into the valley itself. You could also very easily cycle in on this route, but if you have a dog, bear in mind they're going to try and keep up with you. And the trail up the valley can be quite rocky, as you can see. It's very much like a jeep track all the way up to the bothy itself. Although that being said, your feet are going to be dry all the way up to the base of the Monroe, which is never a bad thing. You do eventually bump into this strange little padre statue, which is quite creepy, especially if it's low light and you're walking up and you're unaware of it. There is a little money box, but you can put money in for charity, I believe. There was some sheep scattered around the start of this walk once you enter the valley. And once we got further in we didn't see any. However, once we got near the bothy, there was also some more sheep and lambs. It was lambing season, we were up there, so just be aware there are sheep in the area. There's no issues with navigation for this one. You just simply follow this track all the way to the bothy, and then from there you head towards a current that you'll see later on in the video and head straight up the Monroe itself. As I walk in, it's actually really quite nice. Good ground underfoot, and the scenery around you is really nice, and you can get some really good photos once you're in the valley. And for your dogs, there's no terrain on this walk-in that's going to stop them or prevent them from getting to the base of the Monroe. There's lots of parts of this route where you can actually see for quite a distance, so especially if your dog's a chaser with sheep, you won't see them in the distance. However, there are a few tight corners as you're going up, so you might be best putting your dogs in the lead once you're round the corner, and then you won't see again, just in case. And here we are at the bothy. I was really looking forward to seeing this for the entire walk in. We planned to stop here for lunch, and it ended up being perfect time as it was just 12:30, I believe it was. If it's really bad weather, you're going to get out of that and get some decent shelter, but it's also nice to just see a bothy, especially if you've never seen one before and you don't know what kind of conditions they are inside. This bothy is in really good condition. As you can see, there's some sleeping areas. People have also left half-filled gas canisters, alcohol. There's also a book in there that you can record your trip and your names in it if you want. We certainly did. There's also a couple of sleeping bags and a couple of tents that have been left behind. So if you are in a jam and the weather's really bad, if you get to this bothy, at least you'll be alright. You've got something to kind of wrap yourself up in. Couldn't hang around the bothy all day, so we had to get back on the trail and head up to Munro. Once you leave the bothy, you'll find the cairn and you simply head up the Munro. There is an intermittent track. At the bottom end it can be quite boggy and there's a few steep sections. There's also a section which the dogs kind of struggled on a little bit. They did get past it, and we did film it on the way down, which you'll see, and there's a few photographs of it on the way up. And here's photographs of that difficult section I was telling you about. Just a little bit craggy and rocky. Corrian River and Poppy got past it alright, and you'll see the film on the way down how they got past it as well. I have to say, this is actually a really nice Munro. It may not be the biggest, but it's actually really quite impressive. The route up varies from steep grass to nice slopes, and then you've got quite a steep rocky ascent all the way to the summit with really impressive views once you get there. And if you get the weather like we did, you'll get some impressive shots of the Munro itself. It just looks like a mountain. And if you're to do Stob Ban as part of the Gray Corries, that's a crossover which gets you across to the rest of the Munros. Once you get along the shoulder, you've got a decent rocky track that takes you all the way to the top. It's quite winding and kind of zigzagging because it's quite a steep Monroe. Just be aware when you're coming down it is a bit steep, so if you've got walking poles, I definitely recommend using them for the descent. No problem for the dogs, they got up there no problem, as they always do. And here we are at the summit of Stob Ban. Really nice top. It's not too big, but it's really nice views all the way around you. Just be aware the side that faces onto the Corries is really steep. So I'd keep an eye on your dogs if they're moving over to that side. As you can see in the video here, it's quite a long drop. So it's time to head down now, and as you can see the dogs having no issues coming down. Myself and Charlotte struggled a little bit just because it's really steep and the ground underfoot can be quite slippy, so our poles were definitely out for coming down. So we're now coming back to that difficult section that you saw the photographs on the way up. On the way down we did film it, and you'll see the river does slip a little bit, but she managed to get past it no problem. Cody traverses the obstacle with ease, and Poppy had no problem either getting past it. Depending on your dog's abilities, you might need to give them a little hand over this section, so just be aware of that. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and please like and subscribe and share the videos and leave a comment as well please, and we'll see you on our next adventure.